Hi, my name is Michi. I am an artist, and over the last year, I've been transforming my space into something inspired by a fairy forest. Today, I want to show you how I made my fairy forest inspired chandelier. One of the challenges for my space is that this side of the room tends to get very dark. It's okay during the daytime, especially if I've got, the curtains wide open and it's like summertime, then it's not so bad. But there's no outlet and switch on this side of the room for turning on a light. And it just gets very, very dark. There's so many shadows and you just can't really see anything over here. So my goal is to make like a little chandelier that I'm going to hang up here. You can see my little string that I put up there is to see how long I could make it before it started being obnoxious and a danger to taller folks. But that's the plan. So this is the chandelier that I acquired through my local Buy Nothing page. This is a little bit bigger than I was initially hoping, but I think I can still make it work. I may change the placement just a little bit. That way it doesn't become a hazard to taller folks. Not an issue for me because I am not a taller folks, but I think this will work very nicely for what I have in mind. Next task was to start finding supplies for my chandelier. I was able to find a bunch of broken twigs and branches and sticks in my neighborhood, and then I tossed them into a big pool of water. Good soup. Squish, squish, squish. Hopefully this will get the sticks nice and pliable and make it easier to form them to the actual lamp. So we'll see. So here's what I've got going on so far. Basically what I've done is I've just taken a bunch of twigs and branches that are dampened, moistened, sorry for that word, but I've soaked them so that they're much more pliable, and I'm wiring them to the flanges of this lamp. The hope is that once they dry, they will more or less stay in this position, although I think I'm going to go back with some like willow reeds and actually kind of tie them up with some willow reeds. But the hope is that once it's all dry, it'll be much like a wreath and I can cut away most of this wire and it will more or less stay. And if I have to have some wire, at least it will be less wire. Anyhow, I've got one flange just about done. So I just have like 7 more to go. Once all of the branches were wired in place, I hung it up and let it dry for a few weeks. Because this lamp was originally a ceiling mounted lamp and I don't have any wiring in my ceiling, I needed to rewire it so that I could plug it into the regular socket. I was really nervous about this because I've never done this before, but it actually turned out to be pretty easy. After getting the supplies I needed from the hardware store, I read the instructions and looked up a couple of instructions online, but it really was just a matter of connecting a few wires and making sure everything was pretty secure. All right, I'm gonna try this. Let's see what happens. It's gonna be really funny if I electrocute myself on camera. Oh, I forgot the timer's not on. All right, now that I've got my extension cord actually plugged in, let's see if this works. Please don't die, please don't die. Ah, it works! Yay, I did it! A very important part of this process is using LED lights because I don't want any of this to be getting hot. Because it's all basically dried sticks and there will be moss and other stuff on there, and I don't want anything catching on fire. So I'm going to load this up with the LEDs and see what she looks like. Yay! I have light on this part of my room now. I can see the things. After a brief celebration and a few more days of allowing the sticks and twigs to dry, I was ready to start taking off some of the wires that were holding it together. Overall, I'm really impressed with how well it held up. Very few wires needed to be kept in place. I just kept a couple of key ones, and then I reinforced it with a little bit of hot glue just to make sure that everything was going to stay secure and I didn't have to worry about anything falling off if it got bumped or what have you. But in general, the sticks seem to have bent to the shape of the lamp, and the willow branches did a really good job of keeping everything in place. And with most of the wires removed, it was finally time to start decorating the chandelier. I was so excited for this part. I was able to find a bunch of different types of sticks and moss and leaves in my neighborhood that I was able to use to give lots of different dimension and color to the chandelier and really bring out that forest fairy vibe. Of course, what is a chandelier without crystals? I was lucky enough to get a whole bunch of these crystals from my local Buy Nothing group, and I just think they're so pretty and really add to that fantasy fairy feeling. I used some wire to help hold them in place, and then I went back in with some moss and hot glue to help disguise those wires. Then finally, I was ready to add even more moss and some spring-colored faux florals to finish it. With that, here's the reveal. I am so happy with how this came out. I think it provides the perfect magical touch to the corner of my room and of course adds some much needed light. I would love to know what you think. Please comment below and let me know.